radically rejected the racist assumption of much white American Christianity, namely that God had created the black man inferior and that he had intended Negroes to be a servant class, hewers of wood and drawers of water. Well, I predicated my view of man and the doctrine of Imago Dei. All men, regardless of color, are created in the image of God.
My lineage built by design. My carpet heads are divine. Who laid the lives on the lines. Pull all of my people to do all this coonery and buffoonery. Coming as soon as see this not the reason they die for us. But battle for us to jam. They get flash like your jewelry. This is foolery. All that rah-rah, that's new to me. And the mood that we in is boots on the ground with the truth that you can pursuit of the crown. They feel like we're trying to pleasure. Again in the stolen your mind. Pity just stolen your mind. We're grown with no the blow. For the trumpet, the drum line, show me this war time. No enemies gonna face their ancestors in heaven court for they acts of war crime. Until then, when I boost their face for messing with yours and mine. Before it's and nines, about that time for get trying to rattle each other. Let's ride on the brothers and ride for each other. Right about good shit for my people. The ones that we lost to the struggle, the ones that we lost to the hustle. From deep in my heart, you know that I'm in shit love for my people. The ones that say talking them dollars, I'm stripping the blood of our fathers. They had no choice to get rid of that shit love for my people. The ones that we lost to the struggle, the ones that we lost to the hustle. From deep in my heart, you know that I'm in shit love for my people. The ones that say talking them dollars, I'm stripping the blood of our fathers. They had no choice but to get rid of all us. Self-destruction, devastation, lacking knowledge, self-hatred. Leads to self-deprivation. Pictures from Caucasian calling me racist. My people say hate on a daily basis. Waiting patiently for the liberal road to save us. While they's crackers and slavers. I send them off to the Caucasus Mountain, leaking red all over the place here. Never face it, then you spending your whole life a straight fear. To erase fear, mother's knowledge that we are an African race in the middle of running a race here. Hand me the baton, run nigga, run no mistake. It's when you see me, black cowboy, yeah. I can't run, so I got to stay here. Every day with hate here, gotta stay away from the mind control. What is in you that they fear? Brother, they will murder every one of us if it means that they live. Best believe that white supremacy does exist. I'm here to ship love for my people. The ones that we lost to the struggle, the ones that we lost to the hustle. From deep in my heart, you know that I'm here to ship love for my people. The ones that say talking them dollars, I'm stripping the blood of our fathers. They had no choice to get rid of. I'm here to ship love for my people. The ones that we lost to the struggle, the ones that we lost to the hustle. From deep in my heart, you know that I'm here to ship love for my people. The one that say talking them dollars, I'm stripping the blood of our fathers. They had no choice to get rid of all us.
I can't understand how y'all can just hate each other for nothing and kill our rage. Like, what are you thinking? Or what you not thinking? No, maybe whatever. I'm up and believe it. I'm sick of the shame. The hood not stable. For money and stuff, we gon' kill our race. It's not okay. I see the rain. Like, way too often. We keep crying. All my life been in the trenches. It's just a shame how we keep dying. Royalty, no loyalty. For the upper hand, they kill their friends. Selfishness and self-resent. Before they name might shoot they man. Black men get up, not lit. Take a stare and just flip that switch. No game of plan, no Sega man. The safer man, the patient man. I'm not a patient, fuck waiting man. My people dying over gangs and clans. The better man was wiser than the scholars. Forever dead a kid without a father. My body bleeds the blood of God. It's proper vision, piercing through the hate because it's sharp. I'm seeing this year so clear. It's 2020 vision hit like clear. The hate I'm seeing in the way my fear. The silent lies underneath the chair. Okay, my biggest loss came from the hate I killed towards another. Bigger bold of faith, hate, till the clutter. Bloodline strong, veins of a runner. My story go back like 100 new men, some most for color I spawns. I'm kicking the loss for points like a punter. I'm constantly searching for kings like a hunter. Can't stop when the kings of the land really color.
Yes, indeed. That is MCE, red, black, and green. I thought that was an appropriate tune to start with for the show. Let me give you some background first on my guests today. So MCE is a musical collective of artists, drawing, painting, murals, but music is their passion. Fueled by the lessons learned from from our greatest teachers and scholars, their sound is the lifeblood of the people. They inspire through their music and reach higher heights. MCEes Obafemi, also known as Magnum, and Ced Adamz bring the lyrical wizardry and wordsmithing skills inspired by the everyday life struggles, ups and downs, and the plight of Black people into the music. Soul singer Eshmelek provides a contrasting but harmonious flow to the group. I have put in their contact information. It's pinned to the top of the chat. Make sure to check out their socials. Email them for business inquiries, etc. But without further ado, let me welcome in Obafemi from MCE. How are you today, brother?
Peace, brother. Man, I'm doing well, man. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for bringing us on the platform, man.
No problem. It's a joy to hear some conscious music. The truth is, before I started the Bitter Medicine podcast, what I really was going to do was a independent Black music podcast. I was going to try to, put out top 10 lists every week or whatever, try to encourage independent Black artists who do conscious music that doesn't get mainstream spins. And that was initially what I was going to do. And then I started to notice a lot of things were happening out in the Black community, particularly in America, the Mike Brown, the Trayvon Martins, et cetera. And I said, it's better for me to do more commentary type work right now. And maybe in the future, I'll double back to doing music. But I think the title of this interview is very appropriate. Music as healing and liberation. I think that's important for us. I think we got to change our cultural output, our cultural products. And I think it starts with music as a part of education. And so I'm glad to have you here today to talk about yourself and your musical collective and the work you're doing. So before I go any further, is there any quick thing you want to say to the audience that's listening right now?
Oh yeah, I'll just say this, man. You definitely hit it on the head. Music is healing and liberation. Our music is meant to inspire people to reach higher and to reach deeper into who and what we are, to help solve some of these problems that we face as a people, as a community. We got a real definite purpose behind why we do what we do with the music. So I just want to add that in.
All right. So, and to that end, I appreciate it. By the way, you guys, there's some songs you guys have that really remind me of Dead Prez. So I just wanted to let you know that. And that segues into your musical journey. How did you guys come together? Can you share that story with us?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. So I'm a former producer. I made beats for about 15 years. So I started producing, I would say about 2000, 2001. I'm from Arkansas, so like access to beat machines and all of that stuff was very limited, So I'll be 44 on the 4th of July. So, I'm born in 1979, so I kind of grew up with hip hop, but having those musical influences from my parents, from the Al Greens to the Earth, Wind and Fire, James Brown, Marvin, all of these musical influence just influenced my liking to music. And rap music wasn't played on the radio in Arkansas until about 1986. So that's really kind of tuned my ear in at a young age to start hearing rap music. And but I started writing rhymes in 1997. Went to the military, came home 99, 2000. I got into making beats and picked up the pen again. Anyway, I ended up meeting Ced years later in a producer role. So Ced was doing some music, and a mutual friend told him about me, that I had beats. And so Ced ended up purchasing some beats from me, and that kind of started our connection, just, politicking and chopping it up with one another, and kind of find out like we kind of in the same headspace. And then Eshmelek came along in the group. Eshmelek is Ced's, they are brother-in-law. So their wives are blood sisters. So Eshmelek is the elder of our group. So he was doing R&B back in the early 90s. And so he's been on this musical journey even longer than we have. So we just kind of added those two elements together. We wanted to keep our music soulful. So having a singer with two rappers in the group, like, adds to our dynamic. So that's kind of how we met up.
Cool. So you mentioned your personal influences. You mentioned how your parents and the music that they listened to was so instrumental. But let's talk about the group now. Once you guys came together, what was that process? What was the decision? What were the key influences and inspirations that helped to shape your group sound?
Man, wow. Yo, so I think that, you know, one of the artists that all has resonated with me for quite some time was KRS-One. He dropped an album, I think, in 1990 with Buggy Down Productions called Edutainment. So I was like 11 years old when this album came out. And I mean, there are songs that I still remember to this day. I still play this album. I play this album for my children. That's how much impact it had on my life. But just to tell a quick story, on that particular album, he had a song called Beef, where he's talking about the commercial production of cows into beef, and all of that. And so he's telling this story. In the story, KRS-One mentions a book by Elijah Muhammad, How to Eat to Live. That was my first reference to this, Fast forward a little bit, about 12, 13, my father used to buy the Final Call. So, I saw my father buy the newspaper like every day, and he would get the Final Call as well. So when my father would finish reading the Final Call, I would pick it up, as a young teenager and read the Final Call. So I saw that reference from the song in the newspaper. Fast forward later to about 2004, 2005, I was talking to a sister, and she challenged me to go vegetarian for a week. And I didn't really know anything about it. And it made me do some research. So I went online and I reverted back to that book, How to Eat to Live by Elijah Muhammad. So that it kind of helped kickstart me on my health journey. So just to give just a taste of how the musical influences have influenced my life, but also my artistry as well. So KRS-One, I listened to some of everything. Early Ice Cube was very instrumental for me. But listening to some of that social commentary from the groups from the 70s, like I said, Marvin Gaye, the OJs, some of that music I was just listening to, and later on I started hearing reggae and roots reggae, and the messages in that music, I was like, yo, this is, they ain't just making music just for the sake of making music. It's music with a message to it, and I wanted to bring that more forth in my art and what I was doing. So
Absolutely. That sounds great. Now, every musical group, and by the way, full disclosure, I used to be a part of a group back in the day too that did roots reggae, actually. So every group has a story, right? Has a progression. What were some of the biggest milestones you guys achieved so far in your journey?
Milestones. I think we have some unique experiences on this journey, being that the type of music that we do, it's no question, like, it's not widely accepted. But we've gotten the chance to perform our music in a church of all places, and I've said some choice things dealing with religion and all of that, but a church opened up its doors to allow us to do what we do. So that was, to me, monumental. We've also performed for the Nation of Islam, so that, I've gotten a chance to perform for the new Black Panther Party. You know, just it's allowed me to travel some, you know, from outside of my own region as well. So, and the networking I've been able to do, you know, with the music, you know, as one thing, but those are some of the milestones. You know, I mean, being able to put some money in your pocket for doing what you do is, you know, is always good as well. You know, like I said, it's money is important, and we do, you know, we appreciate getting booked and getting paid to do what we do. But you know, we were doing this at a time where we wasn't getting paid to do any of this. So you know, we're just doing it on the strength of we wanted to give something to our people that means something seriously. So those are some of the milestones I would say. Collaborating with some artists, and I would say that's maybe on a larger scale than we have, and just getting to be around some circles outside of our own region, people just recognizing the art that we do. So that's what I would say.
Appreciate that. Yeah, that's a big deal. To be able to perform in front of various groups of people, to actually be able to earn something for your creativity, for your efforts, that's a big deal. Speaking of that, one last question about your journey. What would you like people to know is the most difficult part of being a conscious musician, trying to you know, have a more widespread reach? What do you think is the biggest thing that's holding you back, and what would you like people to know about that?
I think it's just it's a matter of exposure. You know, we are up against a system that's been running how it's been running for a couple of decades now, and it, you know, it's almost like they've squeezed as much consciousness out of mainstream as possible. So, and you know, then the box of what people say, that's conscious rap or that's positive music, people already have some preconceived notions on what that is and how it's supposed to sound. Or, you know, you got stereotypes like, if it's positive, it's soft. You know, it ain't the music ain't gonna be real good. They just saying a bunch of smart stuff in the music, you know, and that's far from what we've set out to do with our music. We want people to be able to dance and groove to the music as well, but we don't want to do that for the sake of, I want you to move and not pay attention to nothing that's being said. When you do finally pay attention to what's being said, I want you to take those jewels away from that song. But like, man, you know, I want to share this with somebody else. So I think one of the biggest challenges is, though, like I said, exposure. So, you know, like I said, platforms such as yours help with that exposure to a broader audience, man.
I appreciate you saying my platform helps, because I do want to help. I'll ask you one last question there as a follow-up. What do you think the Black community needs to do more of? Do you think we need more top 10 charts of independent conscious performers? Do we need more blog writers? What do you think is do we need more magazines again? I don't even know if magazines are really that substantial anymore. But what do you think will be like a real massive boost to folks like yourself?
Man, that's a great question, man. And I've been, talking to several people about this, but I think that we need an updated version of what they called in the past the Chitlin circuit. So the Chitlin circuit was a network of businesses, a network of venues, artists that were able to go and move around and travel to perform, do their music, songs, whatever the case may be. We need an updated version of that with all the technology that we have today, from podcaster to e-magazines to the streaming services. We have much more at our disposal today, technologically wise, that we can use in our favor. It's just a matter of us organizing and orchestrating how we roll this out. So we got events going on, cultural type events all year long. So artists being paired or matched up, depending on where these events go on, would be, I think, a great thing to do. So, that's I could talk a whole lot about this, but that's for starters. To me, we need an updated version of the Chitlin circuit.
I appreciate that response. I have a Discord. I'm going to invite you to it later on, because I do want to have more creatives around me, because I think this message of Black Power really needs the creatives to be in it, the writers, the musicians like yourself, the commentators, etc. So we'll talk about that a little bit more behind the scenes too. One of the fans of the show, Trigger Happy 262 Plus, says to what you said earlier. He says that's oftentimes the thing with art and music to me. The fine line between music that has political complexity and music that can also be about the cultural collection and norms of a people. He goes on to say what is happening is music that is sort of degenerating and subverting minds for the worse, which gives people at the baseline a bad group esteem. So I think that's a nice comment to what you said earlier. Also want to shout out Brother Bakari, who says peace and Black Power. He says he didn't get the notification. YouTube is problematic when it comes to that type of stuff. They kind of shadow ban and whitelist us and all that kind of stuff. But don't worry, we'll still get the message out there. I'm sure everyone who's here will share. Give the video a thumbs up and share it with your folks, because I think it's going to be an enlightening one. What I want to do now is I want to touch on your creative process. When I talk to creatives, which I also consider myself a creative, when I speak to creatives, I'm big on your creative process. So I'm going to ask this question. I'll put it up on the screen for you. How do you approach songwriting and composition? But first, before you respond, let me welcome in your partner here, Ced Adamz. Ced, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How you doing, sir?
I'm great, man. I'm glad to have you all on today, man. I think the chat is it's a small number of people right now, but I think the chat is appreciating the conversation. The Pro-Black Perspective just said, appreciate good artists. Too many negative and untalented artists today. So, Cedric, I was talking to your boy here. I reached a point where I'm just about to ask a question of how do you guys approach songwriting and composition? So I'll let Cedric go first. Cedric, how do you guys go about your approach to songwriting and composition?
Well, I know my approach is what is my everyday life. Saying, what I stand for, what I know I want to talk about, and I stand for my people. So that's first and foremost in front of me whenever I'm writing. And from that, I go from whatever beat I may have or whatever topic that we feel we want to touch. I just go from that, from my perspective. I already have it on my end. That's a good question, because a lot of times it's a different way of how I do my songwriting. Like I can go from the beat. I can go from not having a beat. I mean, I can be just sitting here and then something comes into my head. I write it down or figure it out, and they come back maybe a month or something later and put something else down to it. Like it's just it's so many ways. It's kind of like just catching the feeling, man. I can hear a whole song. It's just a multitude of ways how I approach my songwriting.
Obafemi, what about you?
Yeah, so what I do is, man, it based on, like I say, whatever concept we coming up with. I can write. Like sometimes I just write. Like I don't have no beat. I'm just gonna write some lyrics down, filling in, inspiration. And I write in multiple settings. So I done wrote rhymes driving on the way home. You know what I'm saying? So, lyrics and words and concepts come at different times. So, I try to capture those moments. Sometimes we sit down as a group, as a collective, and we may have a theme for a project. And so we may identify, hey,
Yep.
we want to make sure we want to touch A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then we'll go choose beats, things like that. And that's really we got a real loose, I would say, structure, man. So who gonna come first on the song, or Ced might have a hook and E gonna sing the hook, or I might do the hook. Like we just kind of mix it up, man, so it won't just be the same format every single song over and over and over. So we try to be a little provocative in that sense, man, and just change up how we do. So
that's great. That leads me to this next question. Experimentation is huge, and improvisation is huge when you're a musician, right? So can you guys tell me about any experiments you've done with your music, and how has it paid off? Like, have you ventured into roots reggae, for example, or anything like that?
So we've done a series of live shows in our hometown. We call them the Soul Speaks Saturdays, and from performing a cappella to breaking out the djembe drums, man, just using our own instrumentation. That's some of the stuff that we've done. I actually just did I just did a track it's a roots reggae track. I'm rapping over the track, but it's a roots reggae track. I'm featuring a reggae artist on it, so it ain't been released yet, but it's coming soon. But just those different musical influences, I would say, man, from our beat selection, you're gonna hear a lot of soul in our music. You'll hear influences of jazz. There's some stuff that I'm looking at with infusing some blues into the music. So just exploring our cultural heritage within our musical scope, man, I think is some of the experimentation that we're looking at.
Yeah.
Ced, do you want to add anything that you've done?
Yeah, like you said, we've done like a live video with a live band behind us. Man, just like you said, just adding a different element. The more we get into the music, the more we understand that rap is a mixture of everything that came before it and add it in. You know what I'm saying? So we try to tap into a little bit of everything. Like I said, depends on the song, depends on what we try to convey across to, as far as our message.
Well said. Hey guys, I'm about to play your song Apex. But before I play it, Brother Bakari wanted to know, I did pin your information to the top of the chat, but if you can, while you're on the air, let the folks know where they can find your music. Obafemi?
So our music is on all streaming platforms, but you can definitely find us on YouTube at MCE Soul Music. That's SOLMUZIK. But we on iTunes, Apple Music. Just look up MCE. Now I will say this on iTunes and Apple Music. There's another group in another country that has a name, MCE. All right.
Yeah.
The music that we do is going to be centered in our culture. So if you look it up and you find MCE and it's talking about some other stuff, that ain't us. Yeah, that ain't us. So all of our music is gonna be centered in our own experience. So we ain't trapping and all of that. You know, that ain't what we do.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good
But
to
yeah,
know.
yeah, you can find us on all streaming platforms. I mean, Deezer, Facebook, Instagram. We on TikTok. Like I said, YouTube, Twitter. You can find our music on Spotify as well. So yeah, it's on all streaming platforms. MCE SOLMUZIK. MCE Soul Music.
Wonderful, wonderful. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pause from the questions for a second. I'm going to play your song, Apex. And after we've listened, I'll continue the rest of the questions. And you'll have another chance again to share all your socials at the end, all right? So just stay tuned, everyone. You guys check out this song. This is MCE, song titled Apex.
Yeah. My folks looking for a movement, not just a beat to move with. My mood is my mood when he proud instead of place his right head across his heart for some faggot that's flat. It's time to move shit. My mood get angry, your mood ring gon' show you that my mood pissed. But these crackers when I put the youth in prison, using euphemisms like youth sensitivity, cause crime waves. I choose the rich. And how truthful is it when you don't choose their religion? They call division. See your own people to come condemn you, but who gon' listen when they ears half full open? Remember sipping Paul half full hopeless. Now I have full focus of my mission in front of me. They come for me, that must mean that I have fully woken to the point of no returning back to sleep. Ain't no peace until me and my foes get returned back. So beat the way we living until we die. Oh, they killers, MCE and RBGs in the motherfucking bill.
It's the intergalactic black magic dispenser. Zombie with the Uzi, Bobby Hutton, Avenger, Defender, Panther, Protector of the Turf, counterbalance to Isfet, lyrical fabric cursing with the verse is Apex, ambidextrous, he cats illiterate, no frame of reference, Obafemi King title like in Swaziland, no mind control by small hats, Ashkenazis, man, holistic health practitioner, I eat to live, tomatoes, pepper, kill zucchini right outside the crib. Genetic coded quote scriptures like the Holy Bible. Fire burn up on them, but my heart is iron. See, so a call me lyrical grow. No GMO conflict with the God. Man, a tough road to hold out in with the pen. Mixed with Tookie Williams, indigenous brave artists. Split the throats of pilgrims, nigga.
Mr. God.
I agree with Trigger Happy 262 Plus. Fire. I like that sample that y'all flipped in there. Really, really like that sample. Only one complaint is too short. I'm almost tempted to play it again, but but I appreciate it, man. I do appreciate it. I'm going to play one more tune later on in the show before we go, but hopefully you guys will check out the music. Hopefully you're checking it out now. I could tell that you guys are readers. I saw the mention of the Pibby, the Holy Pibby in there just now. You guys are readers. Who do you guys read? Let's start with Ced on this one.
Yeah, man. It's a plethora of reads I do, man. I think one of my main reads was Malcolm X, you know what I'm saying? And his autobiography. And just the understanding of you know, the changing of yourself within that, you know, was big for me, you know, and that's something that I carry with me all the time, you know, as far as like knowing what I'm doing with my rhyme and knowing that I put a burden on myself to understand like what it is I want to say, and knowing that my children are going to listen to it, you know. So it's I definitely, man, definitely reading, man, definitely trying to stay focused as much as I could. You know.
Obafemi, thank you for that, Ced. Obafemi, who do you read?
Oh man, who do I read? Amos Wilson, Wally Baruti. You know, a lot of the elders, ancestors who passed on, Dr. Wilson, John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, you know, quite a bit, man. You know, I stay in the books, Dr. Cambone. So it's quite a bit, man. Quite a bit. You know, I don't want to be into the point to where people like, you know, reading is definitely important. But the application of what you read, man, is crucial. So,
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
you got to apply what you read, what you study, and you got to implement it. You know, that's very key, man. So I read and study, and so I want to put some of that into the music because I know, I'm like, man, if I didn't know, and I considered myself to be intelligent, man, it's millions of us who ain't never heard this. So I'm gonna find creative ways to interject this into the music. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. Some of my, one of my big musical influences was Bob Marley, and he implemented a lot of what he read. I mean, the whole, one of his songs is a whole speech by His Majesty Haile Selassie I. So it's like, I like to see when we can take what we read, put it on a track, because a lot of times our people come to consciousness really through music, more so than reading an actual book or something like that. It's really through sound, word, sound, power,
yeah, definitely.
In the chat, Brother Bukhari says, I like their music. I just subscribed to their channel and found them on YouTube Music. I will be.
That.
Hey, man, we appreciate that, man.
Salute to you, Brother Bukhari.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for that, Brother Bukhari. I hope everyone else is doing the same. Ced, you came in a little bit after, so I'm going to ask this question of both of you again. I'll start with Ced. Can you discuss your perspective on the power of music to bring people together and create change? Do you guys have any thoughts on how music can unite Black folks around the world, for example, to be empowered and to change their reality?
Most definitely, man. We had the thing called Harlem Renaissance, and music was a big part of that, along with art, because we do art as well. We're not just doing music; we do a ton of things. So that music played a big part, along with art, with books, with the poetry, all that came into, even the plays. So music is, to me, is an example of whatever the time is. And so the reflection of music that we see right now, that reflects what's going on right now. But that also tells me that it also gives you the hand to change part of the music, because music can change if we choose to change ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So I know one of the biggest things for me was probably one of my favorite groups, Earth, Wind & Fire. And, a lot of things they said directed around love. You saw the hieroglyphs and stuff all in there, the covers and all that. But love was one of the biggest things that they pushed out there. So, our thing to say is, Black love equals Black power. To me, I think if we put that more into the music,
most definitely. Music plays a big part in our everyday lives because we hear music all the time.
Your sound dipped a little bit, Ced. I don't know, something changed and your sound dipped a little bit. While you fix that, let me hear from Obafemi. Obafemi, what say you?
The music has so much power, man. This music that we call hip hop is influencing the world, and we happen to be in the country in which it originated, and so this music is funneled out all across the world. So you got other countries that have they developing their own music industries and hip hop industries around this music. So to seeing people who don't even speak English be able to rhyme songs word for word, like the power of music, man, is crazy. Like I think Erykah Badu had a song. She said, "Hip hop is bigger than religion. Hip hop is bigger than the government." Like this music is a powerful tool, the pen or a weapon. And right now, music is being weaponized against us. We have to use the music as a tool in our liberation and healing. So, definitely.
Powerful point. Powerful point. The truth is, you'll have folks in a country that that doesn't speak English, but they can recite the lyrics of some powerful hip hop somewhere. That's a good point. Trigger Happy 2 Plus in the chat says that's the thing too. Music can kind of be a funnel to attach people to larger organizations too, since it gives the first seeds of consciousness. Leisure historically has been used by revolutionaries, so that's something to keep in mind. But Bakari says that's my shirt on my avatar: black love plus black dollars equals black power. So shout out to Ced. Shout out to Ced for that. I want to ask a kind of a fun, a little fun question here. Can you share some memorable interactions with fans or stories of how your music has affected listeners?
Man, I ran across a lot of people, man, and some of them will see me, and then how somebody see you, and then when you perform, it's like, man, I didn't know that existed. So I didn't know the type of music was there, or I didn't know that was gonna come from you, or we experienced that type of thing, man. Like, people saying, "Yo, that should be bigger than what it is." I've heard that a lot.
I can imagine that. Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah, OB, what you say, man?
People will wonder why you're not big. I can see that. Obafemi,
Man, so I performed this. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I performed for the new Black Panther Party on a couple of occasions, man. And this one particular time, they didn't have my music, or something was wrong with the audio or something. So I end up just spitting some a cappella. And the community was out there, we outside. So I just spit a couple verses from a song that I already had. And I got done, people applaud or whatever. And I had a girl, it was like a 13, 14-year-old girl came up to me and told me, like, I really like your lyrics, your music sound good, yada yada yada. Like, she sat there and was just talking about how she liked what I recited for a couple minutes, man, and that was very inspiring, man, to have, like I said, I'd be 44 this year, to have a 13, 14-year-old girl tell me that, and I'm talking about liberation. Like, I wasn't talking about pop this and pop that, and I wasn't talking nothing about that, So that really affected me to say, hey man, if you're really saying something, the youth get exposed to it, they'll be inspired by it. They just gotta have access to it. They gotta know it. They gotta know that it even exists.
Yeah.
We know what's being forced on them. So that that was a very memorable moment for me.
That sounds like a good experience. It sounds like too. It's always nice to see how something like a person's creativity can affect someone. It's always nice to kind of get that feedback from someone who's just learning about what you do. I've been there as well. It's a nice feeling. It's a nice feeling. Hey, let me ask you guys. Let's talk about the future a little bit. Let's talk about the future a bit. What are your aspirations and goals for the long term? Like, what do you hope to see your music do? Let's say in the next 5 years or the next 10 years. What do you hope to see?
Man, doing like these podcasts with brother, I want to say I appreciate you for allowing us on your platform. Doing these podcasts and being able to share our music with you and with the listeners, and just to keep doing it because it's a purpose behind why we do it, and the purpose is not money. Saying if money was the purpose, then you would do any type of thing. But we know that we're in a unique position to say how we say things to get people to understand, saying from our perspective, man. I go to say like you doing a podcast, or like we talked before, like somebody like Malcolm, man, who get on there and speak. Everybody can't do that. And if you can do that in a unique type of way, then why not use it for the betterment of your people, right?
Absolutely. Obafemi?
I think, man, just being able to move around a little bit more and expose more people to what we do, man, as far as music goes. I've been saying this a lot this year. How they had the term back in the 90s, they call it studio gangsters. We not studio conscious. Like, we active in the community. We put to practice the things that we talk about. So we're not just talking conscious stuff and then go live any old kind of way. Like, this is a lifestyle that goes along with the music. So the music is just an expression of who and what we are as men. We're not perfect. But we make strides every day, man, to be examples in our homes. We all family men with children. I'm soon to be grandfather, so
I'm already there.
Yeah,
wow.
Man. So we, like I said, we active in the community, man. So the work that needs to be done, like, we set examples in the community. So when things need to happen, from community cleanups to teaching classes to workshops to just being present and outside, man, working with our sons collectively. We got a football team collective as far as our children. We started a community garden that we've turned into a business, GSC Gardens. So we're involved in the community, but how our artistry helps us to navigate different spaces and networking, the building of these relationships, because the goal is liberation. Like, that's the goal. That's the reason why we doing this. It ain't just for the sake of, I just want to make some popular songs and be in front of everybody. No, I want people to hear the message and act on what you hear me talking about. It inspire you to reach higher, dig deeper into yourself, you know. So that's the goal. That's our aspirations.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff. I like to hear that. Goal is Black liberation. That's what we need. We need to hear more people saying the same thing. We need to hear Black educators saying it. We need to hear Black creatives saying it. We need everyone on that mission, Black liberation. Hey, there's a friend of the show, good friend of the show, Buana Hagaziki in the chat. He says, ask the brother, what does that flag in the background mean to him? So, Obafemi, what does that flag in the background mean to you, brother?
That's what that flag means is, I mean, it's our flag. Like that's our lifeblood. That's, you know, this is our nation. This is our global African nation. You know, from you got independent nations on the continent of Africa who have adopted these colors. This is our universal flag. So, you know, what I say is wherever we go, we putting the flag down. So in my business, I got flags, and you know, wherever we go, we putting the flag down. So it may sound like the colonizers, but we ain't colonizing. You know, they put their stamp down wherever they go. You know, the Europeans put their stamp down wherever they go. So we ain't just talking about the physical flag. The flag is in your heart, you know, and that's connected to your mind, your thoughts, and your behavior. So that's where the flag resides. That's where it's at, in your heart, in your character, your actions, man. So that's what it means to me.
Yeah, that flag is a reflection of you. Love people, man. This flag is your ancestors. That's, you know, remembering them. That's everything. You know.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I agree. One of my last questions to you would be, can you discuss any dreams or bucket list items you hope to achieve in the industry?
I'll say this, man. It would be cool to collaborate with some of those artists that I grew up hearing that was pushing this type of music, man. So if I could get a collab with X Clan, you know, Brother Jay from the X Clan, that would be dope. You know, like, nice. You know, if I could get a collab with Dead Prayers, you know, artists who I was inspired by to say, man, I need to do this. We need to do this. Like Ced helped to inspire me to go in on this full speed ahead, man. So working with Ced inspired me, you know, because he was his first project inspired me to do this full time. I was dropping little stuff in songs, but he brought it on out, man. So yeah, that's on my bucket list.
And vice versa, brother.
What's your bucket?
Man, like he just said, man, you know, I wouldn't, you know, working with a Paris or a Wise Intelligence, you know what I'm saying, something like that, you know, and just, you know, I don't know, man. You know, like I said, I don't do it for money, you know, and like you said, it's just for the liberating of the mind of our people, because we wake up every day learning, and so every day I wake up and I'm learning, I'm putting that to my people, you know. And that's you know, that's what's really important to me, that they got the message and they understood, you know, what the message I was trying to convey. You know.
Appreciate that. So what I'm gonna do before I let you guys, you know, give your last words and closing statements, I want to play this song that you guys have. Speaking of liberation, the song is titled "Liberation." So let's play it, and then I'll let you guys close out.
liberation. It's freedom time. I'll be before Hodier. Where all the soldiers at? You ain't scared? Drain your money. Time to stand up. Man up, man. Rise up. MCE, the place to be. Let's go. Emancipation Proclamation given to us by this nation, by the same racist crackers who got rich cause they enslaved us. The oppressor did not tell us what was freedom. We believed them, now we master and the slave. By following them demons, put it semen in our women, Willie lynching and Jim Crowing. It's been popping since the Hicks. So we too busy pouring genocide to homicide. Suicide, nutricide, crosses on your neck of death, but the eternal life, your past alive, you the I and I. Religion ain't free, but a hefty price. Take back your life, take back your health. We all black is love and do for self. Call for Sankofa in the ways of the ancient man. Going back and fetch, you gotta get my liberation, yeah. Liberation, free your dome. Liberation, free your dome. Liberation, free your dome. Guard your own protected throne. Liberation, free your dome. Liberation, free your dome. Liberation, free your dome. Guard your own protected throne. Liberation, free your dome. Liberation, free your dome. Liberation, free your dome. Guard your own protected throne. Liberation, free your dome. Liberation, free your dome. Liberation, free your dome. Guard your own protected throne. I threw my solar salutation, eyes focused in the gaze. Man, but why the anti-nature? So we got to look with rage. Carbonated and they hated. Our story be carbonated. Kwame Ture. With a pen in the spirit of the ancients, melatonin got me going. Whole food give me energy. They devitalized food, got you addicted to drugs and the meat. Global white supremacy is still intact while you be always hate. They said that we was happy. But look at Jeffrey Dahmer.
About to show the world.
Absolutely. Liberation. I want to highlight the fact that I have your contact information here. Let me put it on the screen. So you guys make sure you check out MCE. That's their contact information. Let me stop sharing the screen. That's their contact information. That's the phone number you could reach them at. That's the email you can reach them at. You can follow them on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And that's the information. It's also pinned to the top of the chat. It's also down in the description of this episode. Obafemi said, I appreciate you guys joining us today. I give you the last 2 minutes or so. You guys shout out what you want to shout out, inform the people what you want to inform them about.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, like I said, thank you once again for allowing us on this platform. Man, you know, we've been on a few platforms now, and it's a good feeling to see other people, you know, sharing our music and understanding. And like I said, it need to be a whole 360, man. You know, us, you know, sharing your stuff as well. You know, we got to do this networking and got to do these collaborations with each other. But you know, thanks to anybody who's checking out our music and said Black Love equals Black Power, man. Let that resonate within our whole being, because we got to start with that, and that means start with self.
Appreciate that, Ced. Obafemi, you get the last word.
Oh, again, man, thank you, man, and you know, the whole KWAZ radio, man, for having us on, man. The Bit of Medicine podcast, man. Thank you. You know, we're gonna keep doing what we do, you know, informing the people, man. You know, I am up, I'm with the people, you know what I'm saying? So I did want to plug I just became a new author back in February. I released a children's book called Every Day is a Sunday. So the book is about a young boy who's being homeschooled. So it's a kind of nod to the whole concept of it takes a village to raise a child. So The boy is homeschooled, but he's homeschooled in an African-centered environment and setting. So the community comes together, his family comes together to help socialize and educate this child. So the book is out on Amazon. That's called Every Day is a Sunday. It is a children's book, so y'all make sure y'all check that out. We got a couple projects about to drop, man. We're working on our second EP called Food, Clothes, and Shelter. So y'all stay tuned for that. That's coming. And we're about to drop, sooner than later, Knowledge Itself Volume 3, Coal Mine. So shout out to Eshmelek, man. Shout out to my lady KWAZ. Shout out to all our queens, man. Shout out to our family, all our fans and supporters over the years, man. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us. Make sure you keep following us, man. And coming to a platform, a stage near you soon, man. So y'all stay tuned.
Wonderful. One of these days, we got to have you guys on to talk about your artwork as well.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So, thank you for this great interview. Folks like it. Brother Bakari says great interview, great music. Pro Black Perspective says great interview, good musicians. Trighabi 262 says wonderful interview. I'll be emailing y'all. I want y'all to join the Discord. Let's chop it up a little bit more about music and art and just being creatives in general. So look out for the email from me later on today for that. You guys are listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be back on Saturday night to do Saturday night Shoot the Breeze. And I'll see you guys then. MCE, thank you for this wonderful interview. You guys be good, and I wish you the best in the future, all right?
For sure.
Hey,
for sure. Appreciate you.
All right. Yes, appreciate you too. You guys be good. All right. I'll see you guys on Saturday night. All right. You guys be good. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.